This is a Podco original.
The sexiest scene? What? You getting fitted for that nightie? He likes lace.
Do you like Chad Lowe's character? Byron.
Paige kisses Emily! Are you literally taking a dildo to the Walmart check cashier?
But the cool thing about PLL, True Crime, is that we're going to have fun.
Oh, Lindsey.
Just don't
farted.
talk about.
No, I didn't fart.
Did you fart?
No,
Do
not
your
today
farts
yet.
smell?
Yes.
Always.
Not always.
Sometimes they don't. Do you know when they're about to smell?
85% of the time they don't smell.
That's a lie, and that is only something you told yourself.
Wait, more than that?
87% they don't smell?
85%
They
that
don't.
they don't smell.
They don't?
They're loud.
Are you farting
But
all
I'm
the
talking
time?
about that smell where you're like, oh, that's your specific scent. You know what I'm saying?
you're
Like, I'm not talking about just a
You're
little
talking about a
like,
smell where it's like, oh, that was 3 nights ago's dinner.
oh,
Like, yeah.
15% of the time.
Only 15?
How can it be possible for you? You don't eat sugar or caffeine or gluten. So what?
I don't think listen, everyone likes the smell of their own farts.
Of course they do. No, I'm not fighting you.
Like they're all like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like people like the smell of their belly button.
Oh,
their like ear. They
thank
do this
you.
thing with their
Oh,
ear.
I do. I get all of my weird
people who say
fungus
that
out.
they don't go like, oh, they do.
Absolutely
Oh
you do.
my
I've smelled
God,
my
they
ear
do.
holes
And-
so many
and-
fucking times.
I know.
And I don't know what this belly button situation is.
I don't.
but like,
my belly button doesn't smell, but there's something
Mine
about the
does.
metal in the ear.
it's so deep.
Wait, your belly button smells like that? My ear holes can smell like that.
I have to clean out the button.
you don't.
Yeah,
I
there's
haven't
soap
cleaned-
scum in there, and
No
it
way.
stinks like soap scum.
No, it doesn't. I've never cleaned out my belly button.
Well,
ever.
I have. Mine is deep as hell.
Because
That
my
goes to the
farts
outer
don't
rings of-
smell.
There goes
but
the outer
your
rings.
ear, yeah, everyone smells that stuff.
So now, what is your ick? What gives you the ick?
People's fart smell. I'm my own ick. I'm my own. I think if I dated myself, I'd be like, eh.
Right.
But I don't. So yeah, I don't. Nice. I would say my ick is in the beginning about 15 years ago. If someone took me to dinner and didn't pay for it, but that's just because I just felt like it was a nice thing to do and chivalrous.
Haven't you been with your husband for 17 years?
Now it's all the
19.
same money. People like, it's weird because I have friends who all have separate bank accounts and I've never had that. It's always been like the minute we met, it was all in one bank account. Our financial advisor is like, And I'm like, I'm just, it's all ours.
Yeah.
Like I'm just never, but my ick would probably be, I once had a guy itemize the bill. He like circled and he was like to the cent. And I
Right.
was like, that is gross. You're not coming home like with me.
I mean, we can do some over the sweater stuff in the car, but you're not coming
I can dry hump you. I can dry hump the crap out of you, but I will
Hey.
not unzip those pants.
Yep.
What is your ick?
My ick is probably when I'm with a couple.
When you're
and
swinging.
When I'm
When you're
balls
a three,
deep in
when
my
you're a threefer.
third couple of the week. No, I like when I'm with, like if I'm out like with friends or
Yeah.
with people who are dating and something happens to where one of the partners should have checked in with the other one, or I guess most especially the man to the woman. Like
Right.
something happens or like they're walking too fast or too far ahead for like your
Right.
woman to keep up. Like the girl ends up kind of being the one to sort of be the bridge between the group and you know, just a man who's really not that tuned in to his woman really irks me. Like you not being able to intuit her needs in public
Yes.
really irks me. You leaving her sort of open for like to be embarrassed or like this
Right.
or that in public. I'm not fucking about it, dude. There's nothing less attractive than you not taking care of your woman. And it's like guys try to act like they have a woman but then act like they're free as a bird or whatever.
Right.
The hottest thing you can do, the thing that would make me want to steal you from your girlfriend, is to be a good boyfriend to her.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I saw that on, so I landed yesterday morning and I was on one of those like taking me to the rental car and a guy and a girl, they were together, married, rings on, walked into the fully packed bus and he sat down. And she was just holding onto the rail. And it's weird because I'm such a feminist, like such a feminist through and through. I believe absolutely equal rights. I believe women should do whatever you want to do, be whoever you want to do, make all your money. I love everything that feminism is about. And I also think that if you're walking on a bus, you fucking let your girl take the seat.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
I saw so many people on that bus too, sitting down when there was a pregnant woman. There was
That's
an older man.
Absurd.
I'm like 6 on the totem pole. I would but I would say, here's my seat to a pregnant woman, to an older person.
Yep. Just make it a little easier for somebody else. Think of somebody else besides yourself. Now, like, look, I can already see the comments of like, you don't know if they have like health conditions or if like his foot was just broken from surgery or blah, blah, blah.
Most of the time,
I'm talking most of the time. I'm not talking exceptional cases.
Right.
I'm talking there is this thing where I feel like it was like a 90s thing. Like at least that's how the decade I last remember as being chivalrous a little bit. Kind of.
Yeah.
But I guess that was a thing that I always thought you did.
Right.
Was sort of like let people, and now that just doesn't seem to be a rule of thumb.
I travel alone so much, and my roll-on is always so heavy because I don't take a bigger suitcase, and I just take my carry-on, and I'm literally struggling. I'm trying to put it above my head, and then someone will be like, well, don't make it so heavy. It's like, but why can't the guy who's 35, who's just standing there like with a dope look on his face, just go, hey, do you need a hand? And it's not even being a woman. Like, it's if a guy was struggling doing that, I would help.
Yes, I would do
just
whatever
like
I can. Just help.
It's just be helpful.
You know what's so interesting? So when I get Uber Eats deliveries, when like I've found more often than not, the people who ask me if I need help up the stairs after I've gotten my delivery are these like really like they seem to be like foreign men, like French or like just some other kind of
not American,
where it's just so obvious for them to ask like,
do you need
can I
anything?
help you
Can
the
I
rest of
help
the
you?
way?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, this is stereotypical, but just like more Americanized where it's just like, you have to reach down the step. Like they're not even coming up the fucking stairs.
Right.
Like
They don't
you
take
tell
one
them
more
where
step.
you'll be. They're still not there. Like, but it's just like a thing.
My biggest turn on with my husband, he's always he's always opened the door for me for 19 years, 18 years. He would do that for you, like you. He would never let you stand. Like he would always give his seat up. He's given his first class seat up. He just is just a good person. And so I guess my ick is just being a douche.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
being a douche.
Yeah.
And on that note, should we?
Cute. Shall we?
Shall we?
Good question. I like that.
What episode are we on today?
So I think we are on
17. A new normal.
The new normal.
I know I'm in this because
new
I
normal.
still get residuals for this episode.
I love that. I love when you can tell by the episode name.
I was like, Okay, so your dad comes into this episode and he is full on. Very aggressive. We understand kind of the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to you being aggressive towards Emily.
Yeah. Which kind of gives Emily some insight and some compassion.
Yeah.
To Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of opens the door there for, you know, at least when we're getting to know each other because she's got empathy for her now a little bit.
But do you think it's realistic that a dad would just come into the canteen? What do you guys call it, the canteen?
Cafeteria.
You don't call it a tuck
The
shop?
canteen.
You don't call it a tuck shop?
A what?
A tuck shop. That's what they call it in Australia, a tuck shop. You want to go to the tuck shop?
Tuck shop?
Look, go pick up your
What did I
mate
just
pie.
say? Lubba-da-boo.
Go pick up your mate pie at the tuck shop.
I'm sure you're going to get a little bit
So the
more. Are you going to
canteen.
get a tuck or a tug?
Tuck.
Tuck.
Or the
Tuck shop.
canteen, right? You do the canteen?
Cafeteria.
So they're at the canteen.
So that they're at the cafeteria. And
Would a grown man do that? Like that to me is a little, okay.
that's a little bit unhinged. And I honestly didn't understand what they were referencing at first. Like I didn't
You're like,
understand
where
until
are we?
afterwards that the gay that he was saying because she's gay. Like she got the spot because she's gay. Like, I mean, we see Pam, she's about 20 years behind. Like,
But she is keeping it in her own world
right.
under wraps.
Right. You know, I think maybe this is like he's just a very like specialized case, you know, and that I think he is willing to win at all costs. I think, I don't know if there was a backstory what happened to Paige's mom, but the pressure of that, again, his daughter might be the only win. Like, but yeah, that kind of thing about it. I'd find the principal's office before I just started screaming around the canteen.
Yeah. Or just speak to the person, one-on-one.
And then Ella agrees to go with Ezra to a book signing. Mm-hmm. And was she flirting with him?
I think so.
Yeah. Like, they're very much flirting.
And that's acceptable. Because
I love
she's
that.
what, like 45 in the show?
Yeah. That's totally acceptable.
45. He's 20, let's say 6.
That's hot.
It is hot. But then it's just super strange because it's like, well, her daughter's,
Yeah.
But I liked that storyline a little bit.
Then we have Esther Potter's nephew, Ashley. The unauthorized loan that Ashley and Hannah were using belonged to the safety deposit box of Esther Potter. Now her nephew comes in to ask about the deposit box, and she said there's some paperwork involved, and he asks her out.
Again. And she's like, yeah, I need to do this because I need to get off.
It's like, girl, yeah, I'm sure you do need to get off. No, but like
get off any charges that I could
it's like
be faced with.
Girl.
And no one even mentions it. No one's even
nobody's like, why do you keep trading your vagina for legal favors? You know what I mean?
Or for the sunglasses. They're not even this season.
Right? Oh my gosh. Oh, dude,
I feel like it's like, wait.
She upped her body count to help her daughter learn a misdemeanor
I really
lesson.
like her as an actress, and I do like her in this show too. I like her character, but she's making some decisions, and I'm just like, but I guess out of desperation, you make bad decisions.
She is so fierce. Like, I think that about Laura Leighton but the character to me is obviously very flawed. But not in the most relatable way. It's just kind of like one after the other. It's because you see the fallout happen to Hannah, not to Ashley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fallout of Ashley's decisions all fall on Hannah, and you see how she suffers with it. Ashley's just kind of like, well, deuces, I'm going to go on my date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then she just shows up like, it's taken care of. Like,
I think it would have been rectified with just one line of just like, I know I'm putting myself in compromising positions, but I'm desperate and I don't know what else to do.
That's it. Because you really discount her character by not letting her be aware of that.
Yeah.
And I saw how smart she is in the scene at the end of this episode with the nephew after we find out he might be bogus. And she is talking to him and telling him that she needs approval, whatever, she needs to call his bank in Syracuse for approval because she can tell that he that he doesn't feel right. And she's very smart, very savvy, but I hadn't gotten to see her in that light yet.
And I think you would have empathy for the decisions that she's making if there was just that added self-awareness line.
Yeah.
I'm desperate. Or just even, you don't even have to say the line because it's so, you're giving it away to the audience, but just like, I'm so desperate, I'm just going to do whatever I have to. I'm so desperate.
Because she flip-flops. Like, it's only a felony if we get caught. Now I'm going to take the rest of the money back. No, it isn't all the money, but you know what I mean?
Or just a scene where she's kind of breaking down. Because think about what she's like, the compromising position she's put herself in, and we don't sort of get that as the audience. We don't get that payoff.
Right.
We kind of need her to break down in the comfort, like in the corner, and we're kind of voyeurs, and we see how this is taking a toll on her and her as a parent and a mother. Just those small little essence of like being human.
What I think it is that they sort of gave everybody else's parents a familial role as well, and they kind of just started her straight into the bullshit.
Right.
Like, she was covering from minute one. Like, I never really got to see Ashley in relationship with other family members or with her daughter even.
Right.
You kind of just see her sort of on the ropes from the start.
But I think it really is because it's not a character-driven show.
Right.
It's a plot-driven show.
Right.
And when you have a plot-driven show, you have to keep moving.
Yeah.
And so there isn't, I mean, I'm sure in the writer's room, they're like, should we mention? And they're like, no, we don't have time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think the show can suffer from that because I still think the show is so great and so watchable. But at times I'm just watching a whodunit beat to beat instead of like really, I don't know if I really, and this is really hard to say, but I don't know if I really care about a lot of characters. couple I do.
Right.
I care what happens to them, but I think so many of them are disposable. Like you care about them because you've been watching them, but do you really care about who they are as people?
I don't.
Like if my character died or your character died, think people would be shocked, but I don't know if they'd be like, that deep sadness when you lose a character.
Yeah.
And I think that that's because of the character development not being able to be played out because it was a plot-driven show.
Right. And making each of those dramatic instances sort of just like a flash in the pan as opposed to like anything a little bit more. The overall storyline is pretty well conveyed and circulates around, but you could do so many other little circles within everything that you did and give you more material in the end. Like these are great beats, but it drops for 1 second. You know what I mean? There's no like, ooh, let me experience that beat now. It's like, nope, on to the next.
Oh, the DA drops charges against Toby.
Paige is super distraught. She approaches Emily in the hallway and she said she didn't know her dad was coming and that she did not tell him about Emily being gay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that whole thing can so blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I love this line when Toby says, Jenna has the power in the house. She's afraid of you and your friends. Why? Who said that again? Jenna has the power in the house. Oh, that was Toby, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote that down.
She's afraid of you and your friends. Why? Because he doesn't know anything. I mean, he doesn't know that they were outside the house when the fireworks went off and the house blew up.
Mm-mm.
So they're like, why is Jenna afraid of you? I like that.
Yep. And also, the sexiest scene?
What?
You getting fitted for that nighty? He likes lace.
He likes lace. And I'm talking about Toby, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, that was hot.
People
girl.
have like real opinions about their relationship with Toby. People are very mad because I agree with them too. It's against his will. So that is the most awful thing that she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the manipulation and the tactics. So yes, I agree with anyone who's in the comment section saying that is awful that she's done this to him. I absolutely agree. The other part that I don't agree with is like, well, it's her brother, but they're not related.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is less of the, oh my God, this is wrong. And it's wrong because she's pushing herself on him, which is it doesn't seem like we talk about that a lot. Woman pushing herself on a man and manipulating a man.
Right.
We always talk about the other way around. Right.
Because, I don't know, men don't want to believe they can be taken advantage of in that way. I don't know what it is.
Because they're, bigger. Oftentimes they're bigger. They oftentimes more powerful.
Yep.
But can't he just be like, no, I'm not going to kiss you? Can he just like push back? Like, what is he afraid of?
I don't know.
No one addresses that either. Like, why is Toby so afraid of me?
I know, but because I think maybe he's seen a lot of intense stuff like happen, especially around Jenna, and for like whatever reason, every secret in Rosewood is just worth so much more. I mean, I think he just doesn't want anything else bad to happen. And so whether you're going to make something bad happen to somebody else or you're going to get yourself into trouble yourself, I think he just wants there to be peace.
Yeah, so he's afraid of the outcome
of rocking the boat, of just or.
And maybe I missed something. Maybe I have something on him. Do I?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
You're like, I didn't get that in depth of it.
I don't know in the future. Like I didn't watch it, so I don't know exactly where this builds and leads to. I didn't even know that you guys were like together.
And I guess everyone is so afraid of Jenna because she could tell everyone that they were involved in the explosion, which took away her sight.
Right.
But is that it? Like, I'm always like, why are you so afraid of me?
I think also, like, you took somebody's sight. I mean, that in and of itself separates you from the person. Like, I think they're just, like, freaked out. Like, they're scared, but also just like, whoa. Like, but yeah, they do play a lot of fear for a blind chick.
I know. I'm like, I don't even know where you are.
She goes,
I'm wasted. Spencer, do I smell your perfume? Okay.
Okay, so then So what's going on with Arya? Ella and Byron have parent-teacher conferences. Her dad's going to meet Ezra. He goes to meet Ezra. But he already knows that Ella is going on this book signing with him, and he thinks it's just a date between Ezra and Ella. And so he's going in hard.
He's going in hard.
Asking some weird questions and just like being kind of a D-bag.
Yeah.
So he gets home. Arya's like, yo, how did it go? He's like, yo, that guy is kind of
not right
all
for
that.
you, not good for
Not-
you.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I really like him. He's really smart. He's like, every English department has a charming douchebag. He goes, even your mother is not immune from from his charms.
Yeah.
And she goes, Dad, half the English department was going to that signing. And he goes,
He's like, I didn't know.
I'll take you and your brother for dinner. And I was like, okay, great.
Do you like Chad Lowe's character, Byron?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. For all of the, Chad is a cool person. There's like
He's coming on the show.
Chad is great.
Toby.
I freaking love Chad.
Let's
I like
talk about it with him.
I like that I know him in the capacity of knowing him as a director behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't work with him, but knowing him as an actor, I think that's something I would want to do someday on a show. And it seems very, very cool that he did that. I think he is an incredibly feeling man. There's a lot of empathy, and emotion just very clearly come through him. So I feel like he enjoys what he does, and he felt really invested, in his character in the show, as of course, all of those older parents do. But I can see that he loves to act, and he loves what he does, and that made it joyous.
And he's Rob Lowe's brother.
Hey.
How
didn't we didn't get a little Rob Lowe in there?
I know. Rob Lowe was like my pinup. Dean Cain was also my pinup.
He said, there's only room for one Lowe on this set, and that's Chad.
Chad Lowe. Do you think that he felt, and we should ask him this, maybe he'll answer, it's hard when one sibling is really successful, because Rob Lowe was really successful, and then he came in after that, you know? And sometimes I find that that's probably difficult, because you're like, well, am I going to be as successful? Do people think I'm just here because I'm his brother? But there is something to, coming in after a sibling that's really successful.
Yeah.
But I also think it opens doors. To say that it doesn't,
Is
we're like
crazy.
Nepo babies. I'm like, I would love to be a Nepo baby.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God,
Imagine if you're a hardworking Nepo baby.
And good.
Hardworking Nepo baby? Yo.
And you've got all this stuff given to you, all the resources.
But then you don't have the impetus to work hard for anything or on anything. You know what I mean?
But a lot of people do work hard.
True.
Like Bryce Dallas Hart, I think she's good.
Yeah, I think she's good too.
And she probably works her ass off running around those dinosaurs.
I mean, absolutely.
That's a lot of work. Screaming at no dinosaurs.
The one time that I fell in love with Bryce Dallas Howard was her Black Mirror episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought
Such a good actor.
that it was just so complex and weird and
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be great to just get those doors opened up, and then if you fail at those opportunities, or you're not, the right person for the role, you don't get the job, then that's on you. But just to even have the opportunities to open up.
What do you think? Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
What do you think about Northwest in The Lion King?
As a mother, I would be like, yeah, get up on stage. That's so wonderful. You get those opportunities and then also it does bring so much revenue probably to the show. But I was a paying customer and I would be upset. Because I go to the show expecting a very specific level when it comes to the shows that I see.
Right. And other
I don't
legends
and it's
are
not
on
like
stage
school,
with you.
It's not
Legends.
a school play.
Yeah.
You're
Wasn't
going,
Jennifer Hudson?
Yeah, you're going because of how incredible it is to see a show on Broadway because of the talent, and that has to be upheld. But then devil's advocate is Chicago. They bring tons of, Pamela Anderson was on there, the chick from Vampire, Vanderpump Rules was on there because it's like kind of a shtick, and it is a little bit of a thing where it brings in people and revenue.
And it also makes me think about, like, I needed work when I got here. Like, I needed
Same.
money for my family. Like,
needed
I worked hard. I put out money to gain the skills that I needed. I did an IOU to my acting teacher for a year because we didn't have any money. And he had put good faith in me, right? And so a year, like, was able to pay him back, and it was great. Even one more of those opportunities had gone to somebody, and it's not like just do it for the money, because that's my own thing. That was my own choice, like, that, whatever. But it's like the work, the effort, the commitment, the discipline, the resources of those kids who got down to the wire. I there's no, that you can't.
But the biggest lesson in life that I'm learning is life's not fair.
Yeah.
And there's a lot in this industry that goes to luck. Because I, again, was down to The Big Bang Theory. I think I told you that. Transformers. And there was, I don't think in those last three, me, Megan Fox, and another girl, I don't think that any of us were more or less talented than any of the other. It was just luck in that moment. And that's just an acceptance of it, that some people work really, Train, the band, said that we were never the people that got chosen first. Like, we fought for everything. Everything was hard. We're scrappers. I feel like that's sort of me when it comes to getting jobs. I fight for every single job. And some people just have to.
But it's like, you don't need luck when you're Northwest. Do you know what I mean?
But your luck was being born into that family.
As Northwest, right.
Because like that embryo, could have been anyone.
Yeah, and it's just like, what sort of like, I don't know, what kind of complex are you giving? Like, what does it mean to put her up there and then have the feedback that she got? Because I know she saw some of that. Like, what is that? Like, talk about protecting your kid's mental health,
right? But we don't have to worry about Northwest mental health.
Northwest for another 3
just have
hours.
to worry about the fact that Emily's mom sticks up for her.
Oh.
And
this was the Nia Peoples. Yes. That
was a pivotal moment
where she is talking to Nick and just stands up for her. The way she pulls Emily aside first, right? And they start out with that energy of like, why are you here? Tell me, is this true? Did this happen to you? We don't know what they're going to do. Then Pam turns to Nick, has this stunning interaction with him where like the tears are just so right there. They're not even falling. They're like filled with pride and fear and frustration and rage and just like all of it in the moment. And she just does this great scene. And then her and Emily can come back together. It was just a great like this of the whole scene.
She doesn't apologize though, right? But in that moment, that is the apology.
Pam apologizes.
That's right. She says,
I'm sorry that.
She's like, I'm so proud of you.
No, but she does apologize.
Does she?
Yeah, because I remember clocking that.
I thought she said like, I still don't understand like who.
Oh
you
yeah,
are,
she said I still don't understand,
but I'm so proud of you.
And also, I'm sorry I haven't gotten to know you. Something.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe there isn't a.
But I feel like she could have said, I'm sorry in the way I've treated you. But I guess gotten to know you is the same thing, right?
Yeah. I have to go back because I can't speak to whether it's there.
But
or
she
not.
did say, I don't like understand this, but I'm so proud of you.
Which I think it was a great way for them to do it, because you don't flop that back right over there. But her mama instinct took over and was like, I know what's right and wrong with my daughter now, but I love that. I still don't understand, because that's
and you
okay.
need that. Yeah,
treating people well when you don't understand, that's all that's necessary.
Right.
You know.
I mean, I think that right now, especially in the political landscape of the U.S., it's like if you don't understand, but you can accept people. I mean, imagine a world like that.
Yeah.
Accept people, as long as they're not hurting people, accept people for who they are, even if you don't get it.
Yeah. And we, excuse me, we really need to figure out what we mean by harming people, and really, there's just so much up in the air about, who people are. We really need to just come to, what is harming people for real?
For me, harming people, and I won't touch on this a lot, is like not having any gun reform. That to me is harming children at schools.
Yeah.
That's like harming people to me is not having universal health care for people who need to go to the doctor but can't, and then they lose a loved one because of that. That is harming. Like, your opinion is fine unless it actually hurts the other person's
ability to
live.
Mm-hmm.
If your opinion is overt, like is causing someone to not be able to be well,
mm-hmm.
that's a problem. So that to me is when it's like, what is real harm?
Right.
That is real harm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah,
there's
it's
lots of
become
shades of
really
gray.
conflated with the shades of gray, and I get it. And there is a mental and physical, well-being, and both are important. But I just feel like a lot of people, there's a lot of words thrown back and forth these days of like harm. This is harmful. This is harm. This is harmful. And really, those are just people's opinions that don't really affect
the people that
much. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. Hate is still harm, and I understand that. But yeah.
Yeah, and that also speaks to the idea of like cancel culture. Like, when did we become people who can't learn, be different, apologize, forgiveness? Because if there really is a God and there really is Jesus, that entire basis of religion is to forgive and love your neighbor. Like, literally, you cannot say that you are so religious and then not say that person is obviously suffering. I forgive them. When we didn't know that our name was so close to another name, the amount of hate that I and you got for that was just an oversight. It was a stupid oversight, but it was still an oversight. And I thought, but then I would go to people's profile section and they would be like, Jesus and Lord is my high and mighty or whatever. And I was like, well, isn't the basis of your religion then like forgiveness?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to call myself before I talk about this.
We've got 3 minutes. Let's not cancel ourselves right now.
Let's not cancel ourselves right now. But I just want to be like, dude, like, how? How can you act that way? Yeah. Because you have not been taught what your religion is. This is what you've been taught Christianity is. Point and judge what you don't understand. Point and judge until they change their mind.
But that's not true. See, I was raised Christian. My dad's Christian. I would probably say I lean more towards Christianity. But the real Christian, because I do believe Jesus was real. I do believe there's a God. But I will say that the Christians that I look up to and I love are the people that we would look up to and love, which is forgive thy neighbor, like let people be who they are, accept people, be there to be like, just support and love no matter who they are, but the problem is right now where we are in America, it's so furious and we're like at the end of the day, aren't we fighting all for the same thing, which is just to be like loved? Isn't that all the reason why we live is just love?
I mean, some people aren't aware that that's why we live. So unfortunately, some other nefarious things come into play. But yeah, it's harder for me to do that. But the one thing that has kind of stopped me from doing that hate thing is like, I'm fighting with you like you are my peer. Like you are in your 30s with me, that you are, that you've been raised with the same access to not even that, but like just that we're playing in the same box as me, right? And I can only speak to you as far as I can understand the box that I'm speaking in, which is what I'm assuming that you are dealing with. And it's like, usually that's not the deck that they're playing with. And God forbid it's some teenager in the basement and anything that you say could lead them to harm themselves, harm somebody else. That's the part that has stopped me. I'm like, okay, I don't want any further hate on my hands. Like I don't want to even think about that person being in pain and in hate. Because when I think about that, it's like, well, shit. If I think about a 13-year-old alone in their basement trying to get attention.
And that's normally what it is. And I agree, but it still does affect me, as I'm sure. Like we're all human.
Oh my God. Like when you're telling me to relapse on drugs and die, like stop.
I know.
Don't do that.
And on that note.
Wait. We forgot the one thing in this episode.
What do we forget?
Paige kisses Emily.
Oh, why did we not start with that?
Paige kisses Emily.
It was in the car. It was so cute.
Oh my God, it was so like, babe, I grabbed her face and like kissed her. I was like, hey.
Jenna kissed Paige.
Hey, why didn't that ever happen?
I know. I was too busy manipulating Toby to make out with
kissing
me.
your stepbrother. Yeah. But that was a cutie little scene, and I loved the way that came back. I really enjoyed these first 3 episodes of me being in it. I really did.
I was not expecting, like I said, how great it was for the two of you because of what I went into these episodes with based on what we had talked about. I was like, oh, so you're coming in, you're like this goofy Big Bird character. People thought, like, why is she with Emily? And I actually think you match up even better than Maya.
You know what I think? I think I took all of the hate that I got through Paige for the whole series
And then
just dumped that on her and made that who she was for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just to kind of be like, hey, I'm on the side with you. I think she's shameful too. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not out there on my own, but I do stand by her. She got me through the hardest time of my life. Like I got on drugs in the 2nd season. I got off drugs by the 7th season. Like it was a very important show in my life. Like it is a huge part of the reason I was still able to like get up and probably am not dead. And like
maybe it's I was gonna say maybe it saved you. Maybe having to get up early that one day stopped you from doing that extra thing or that extra pill or that extra line. Like I know that's like super heavy and we don't really see that when we're in it, but when you look back, hindsight's 2020, and you're like, that show might have saved my life.
Yeah. I think so because it kept me in a container while I was already so chaotic and a safe one. And I'm just very grateful. So I think I really just need to take a whole deep dive back in with Paige and take the shame away from her. You know, she meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love you.
I love you.
I love you as Paige.
Yeah, and I love you as Jenna, you sexy thing in that nightie.
I haven't done anything yet.
God damn. First of all, I love how the shopkeeper, when you were doing the nightie scene, was like describing it. She goes, it's not too long. It's not this or that. It looks really nice around your collarbone. I was like,
is this an Amazon try-on? Are we doing Amazon affiliates right now? And on that note, we're going to take it away with
Joe Scott.
Welcome back, Joseph Scott Morgan.
Hi, you.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
I love hanging out with you guys. You know, it's refreshing to me.
Is it more fun than Nancy
I
Grace?
don't get to do this kind of cool stuff, man.
What do you get to do? Just Nancy Grace stuff?
Well, yeah, and you know all the different television networks and all that stuff, and it's very, you know, the thing about it is don't get me wrong, I love, and I'm very grateful for that people call me even, and I get to do all of these television shows and all these sorts of things, but it's all so freaking serious, man. I mean, it's the worst stuff in the world.
Yeah,
it really is. And this is fun. I mean, it really
we make
is.
Murder
it's
look
fun.
good,
right? You gotta be.
You know, it's really cool. You know, and I don't know. It's something I've always enjoyed doing, and I got to tell you, it's kind of fulfilling, kind of a little bit of a fantasy for me because for years and years, I used to think that at some point in time, somebody in Hollywood would call me and ask me to be a technical advisor on something. And that's never happened for me. And so doing this, it kind of feels like that, you know?
And
so
when we sell our show, you will be our technical advisor.
It really is.
Yep.
I
agree.
So I don't know. It kind of scratches that itch, man.
You have to be a full-grown adult in your profession. And I know you got that kid in you, dude. We over here vibing and being silly. I know that you're silly as heck, but you know, you don't.
There's a lot that goes on inside my head that I never say.
Yeah, you don't get to how you say peacock like that. You gotta keep
listen.
it serious.
Hey, listen. People get so offended easily, and when you start talking about death, if you don't put on the serious face and really and look, it deserves respect.
I agree.
But if you don't go above and beyond being respectful on these cases, because this is somebody's family, you know, I'm talking about in the real world, you know, you're going to have hell rain down on you.
I don't think you can crack
And so,
jokes.
and you still have hell rain down on you. But I'm just coming off of this Karen Reed case. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it in Massachusetts, where it was so polarizing. You had this woman that had allegedly used her car to kill her Boston cop boyfriend in the snow with, back up over him. And man, I got a lot of hate over that just from comments I was making about forensics. And I'd really try to stay in my lane and between the guardrails and everything. But, that happens when you're actually an investigator as well, because sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you don't cover all the bases. Sometimes you jump to conclusions many times about things that aren't really there. And of course, that trial actually ended in a mistrial, which is just freaking bizarre. I mean, everything about that case is bizarre, but it really put this heavy spotlight, on everything that I would do. So it makes you act unnatural when you're on air, and you have that because you're still human. You're thinking in the back of your mind, if I say this or if I say that, it's going to be misconstrued in some way.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to do that. You just want to be free to talk and free to state what you see as fact, or what you see as scientific fact. So it kind of puts you back on your heels. But the cool thing about PLL True Crime is that we're going to have fun.
Yes.
I mean, that's what this is all about, and having fun and just talking about cases or talking about the show.
May I ask you one personal detail, please, before the show? Have you ever had an inappropriate emotional response at any point? I'm not I just mean anything. Walking into a scene or the morgue, did you start giggling? Did you get weirded out? Did you have an inappropriate emotional response? Not really in front of anybody, but just in your own body, sort of. Yeah,
you do, because when you see somebody when you see somebody that has met their end, and they've done it in such a way that is contrary to anything that is within norms, your brain, you look at this and you think, I can't believe this person did this to themselves. And it becomes almost like a comedy of errors. And and of course, you'd never approach a family like that at all. But, you have these moments in time, where it happens. The stuff that always made me, it didn't make me laugh as much as it was like this kind of moral conundrum, and it's like it's an out-of-body experience. It always had to do with sex.
I was about to say, someone done something weird sexually and killed themselves.
And if you'll permit me, I can tell you one of the stories real quick. Yeah, if you've ever been to an emergency room, particularly in a big city, there's always that one charge nurse. It's generally an older lady who has literally seen everything under the sun when it comes to what people can do to themselves. And there was a big hospital in Atlanta, and I knew the head nurse for the emergency room. She worked day shift, and she controlled everything in that environment. Great nurse. And she called me up and she said, Joe, I got a heart attack case. I got to report to you, but I'm not going to tell you about it. You got to come here and see this. And I was like, why? It's a heart attack. And she said, trust me, come here. And I was like, all right. It's like I'm doing other stuff, and now I'm going to go to the hospital to visit about, to examine a guy's body that's got a heart history and has had a heart attack. So I show up, and she says, come with me. And she takes me back in the exam room. And it's one of these things that's got the curtain pulled, where you go into the emergency room, and they put you behind the curtain, and you're sitting there on the little table. This guy's dead in there. And they've run a code, which means they use the paddles and all that stuff. And I said, okay, why'd you call me? And she says, because of this. And she pulls back the sheet, and this guy's got on his jockey shorts. And underneath the jockey shorts, he's got on a pair of his wife's underwear. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, that's not all. And she pulls his jockey shorts and his wife's panties to the side, and he's got two white strings hanging out of his rectum.
What?
Damn it.
No.
And I was like, okay, can this get any more bizarre? And then she says he was at a Jack Shack, and they used to have these places in Atlanta.
They used to or do?
Well, I don't know if they still do.
Wait, they put a
but
mouse up there?
you could go there and pay a lady
To hurt
to
you.
disrobe while you sit there and do the 5-knuckle shuffle while she's doing it. And this guy
Five-knuckle shuffle.
was sitting there
What's the
in the
five-knuckle
presence of this
shuffle?
lady. And I'll never forget it because the lady that was performing for him was Russian. And I don't know if she was in the country legally or not. I went and interviewed her at this place. She's gorgeous, spoke broken English. And she said the story was that he was sitting there and doing his thing while she was doing her thing. And she turned around as she's dancing and begins to pull her bottoms down. And she says something and he doesn't respond. And she turns around and he's purple.
What?
And he vomits. And she runs out of the room screaming. She runs into the middle of a major thoroughfare and it just runs wild out of the building. And
Did he vomit
police
on her or
officer,
just
she
vomit?
flags down a police officer, which the people that occupy these spaces, they don't want cops to come in there.
Right.
But she's with a dead guy or a guy that's in great distress. He'd had a heart attack while this was going. He had taken 2 of his wife's tampons and inserted them and then had a heart attack. You know, you sit there and you see this.
Why did
and
he put the 2 tampons in
This
beforehand?
needs to be the
just
only thing we talk about in Joseph's.
Wait, but hold on.
section.
I'm just trying to see because you'd want something holding place up there while
Well,
you're doing
it's almost like a butt plug. but
right.
it's a
I get that, but
tampon.
the tampon had nothing to do with his heart attack.
No,
No.
it didn't, but it was stimulating to him. And the thing
Right.
about it is if he's right on the precipice of having
Heart
a
attack.
major heart condition and he's already like super excited, which you would think someone would be in
Right.
these circumstances.
Right.
Remember, he's
Five-knuckle
paid for this
shuffle.
time. He's probably been fantasizing about this. He's probably been thinking about it for a couple of days. Let's see what I can get away with when I'm away from the house and the wife's not watching.
The
And he
wife
goes
doesn't
to
know.
the Jack Shack and, you know, he's in great anticipation, this sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, well, let me go in the bathroom, closet and grab a couple of my wife's, Playtex tampons. I'll shove them up my butt. And then I'm going to grab a pair of her underwear, by the way, because I love the way the silk feels. And he shows up and he begins to do this. Well, he has an MI and he dies.
It's so embarrassing.
And that's
So
only
it's one
one
thing
of the
if your wife
cases.
knows
I
about
could
it, but if
literally
she
write a
doesn't-
book based on these kind of cases that either me or my colleagues have encountered over the years.
That's all we should talk about from here on out.
Yeah, you would be amazed at some of the things that we've seen in the morgue or seen as an adjunct to as a death investigator. Insertions alone are
Have you ever
amazing,
had someone
you know.
who had passed away?
We
I
need
have to
insertions.
ask. Passed away and had like a mouse up their butt.
I've never had that. However, we once found a guy in New Orleans that was wearing a scuba suit that had wrapped himself in a what do you call it? A Persian rug, and it was like a legitimate like $25,000 Persian rug. He did this in a warehouse, and he had a snorkel coming up out of the Persian rug where he had, and when he suffocated
What?
in this thing, and this is a form of autoeroticism where the compression is so stimulating to them, they can roll back and I hate to move too much because I feel like I'm imitating, but anyway, they would roll back and forth. He would roll back and forth, and he suffocated. Actually, had a cardiac arrest while he was doing it. A guy finds the body. It's like a homeless guy, and he doesn't know. He's like, there's like just imagine a big cigar rolled up on the ground, and he walks over, and there's a snorkel sticking out, and you see the top of the guy's head, and he's got like the wetsuit top on
What?
too. Then when we get him back to the morgue, we begin to peel back all of these layers. And when we did there's a thing that you do at autopsy, where it's called running the bowel. And it's like you remove the large intestine, small intestine, and you literally have to open it up with a pair of scissors. And past his rectum, killed him, past the rectum into the sigmoid colon, he had 4 Jack Nicklaus Golden Bear golf balls inserted. inside of him because that was super stimulating to him.
I need it. I need your autobiography yesterday. Do you understand?
He wrote a book.
It's out there. It's out there.
It's an autobiography?
It's called Blood Beneath My Feet.
Blood
You
Beneath
didn't
My
think
Feet.
I was really his friend.
Blood beneath my feet.
The journey of a Southern death investigator.
Stop it. I'm going to get that like literally right now though.
Yeah.
The blood beneath
It's no
my
longer
feet.
in print. You can get it on Kindle. It's electronic. So
Yo, we got to get these PLL pods shot while Joe Scott is still available. All right, this guy's hotter than Margot Robbie after Barbie.
I'm always going to be available to you guys. Don't say that.
Oh,
Love
we love
that.
you, Joe
Thank you,
Scott.
Joe.
I love you
thank
guys,
Joe
man. This is
Scott,
fun.
This is so
much.
fun. I'm so
Let's
glad to know
continue
more
this
about
weird-
you and your bandwidth.
This weird sexual death
so
on the next
cool.
episode.
Listen, we could do a whole series on nothing but weird sexual
insertions
things
is I
that
think you called
that
it.
have occurred, things that you can't, and it's weird. They always talk about the root of all evil is money, and maybe that is the case. But I've had probably more people that have met their end as a result of either having sex with someone in some type of weird thing where they either illicit affair or something weird happened during sex or just it always happens. Maybe it stands out in our mind, because we're so in tune, from the time that we're little when we're, in puberty, we're thinking about sex all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so graphic and it's in your face when you're standing there and you're looking at this and you're thinking, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Right.
But after you've seen it a few times, you say, yeah, it really, what it really makes you want to do?
Do it.
For me, it
Some
does.
golf
at least.
balls
Like when
up your butt.
yeah, crawl in a hole and pull it in behind me. But no, when you're driving down the road and you're riding around your neighborhood, you're thinking,
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on in there. Because some of these people are the most mild-mannered people that you'll ever encounter.
So I live in, like,
think
the
that they would
country.
be involved in the freaky deaky in any way. And generally, it's the people that run their mouth that are not really that
I
freaky.
know.
That are vanilla.
It's the quiet ones, man.
So I live in like pretty much the country, and our local Target, all the dildos are sold out. And these are women that are so put together and like make the bread
First
and
of all,
everything, and they're all sold out.
Are you literally taking a dildo to the Walmart cashier?
No, but when you go to I was interested because I like saw these women.
Wait.
I went so you can buy a dildo at Target.
Oh
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, there's
They've
a whole
added
section.
those now.
So
Right,
I
right,
went
right.
past the section because I was like, well, how many are they really selling? All sold out.
Hang on one second. Hey, babe, grab my car keys.
And on that note,
And on that note, we got to go let Joe Scott get to
go take
Walmart.
some stock. Let's just take some stock account of our local Target.
We
Yeah.
love
No,
you, Joe
it's
Scott.
like back in the 80s when, porn was on VHS. If you wanted to rent a porn tape, you had to go behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so everybody knew what you were doing if you went behind the curtain, and
But it's keeping things
PC,
civil.
yeah.
it's everybody's doing it.
But
It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like we invented something.
Yeah,
It's there.
seriously.
It's
There's no
just that people
gatekeeping,
have
guys.
there's different shades of
Weird.
Yeah.
of what's going on out there. It's so incredibly bizarre. There ought to be an entire death investigation book, and there are a couple of texts that are out there that are devoted to sexual homicide. For one, is a famous book that was actually written. If you guys ever saw the series on Netflix called Mindhunter,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
which was a huge success. The guy, I can't remember what the big guy, the big actor. He's like the big guy in that series. He's portraying a guy named Robert Ressler, who was one of the founders of the behavioral sciences unit. Like Clarice, do you still hear the lamb screaming?
Yeah.
He's one of the founders of the behavioral sciences unit.
Wow.
Well, he wrote a book called he and two other people. They wrote a book called Sexual Homicide and Deviance, and And for years, it's the only text that was out there, and it didn't have any pictures in it. Now they got books out there with pictures in it, and it's stuff from all over the world that are used as like as a textbook. Because some people have, it's like if you live in some rural area, Tam was mentioning that they live, out in a rural area, as do I. These people that work in these areas, you don't commonly see this stuff because you got to be in a bigger population area. So if you don't have a text to go to look at this and say, oh my God, this really, what I'm seeing, I'm looking at the book and I'm looking, this is what I've got.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of proclivities that are out there.
Well, thank you, Joseph Scott Morgan.
I just want to see where I fit.
We are going to see you in this
Thank
next
you,
week's
Joe
episode.
Scott.
We love you and your sexual
and all of your
deviant,
quips. I'm just on every word, man. Now, if you could do
Expertise.
if you could do your audiobook in the Elvis impression.
God, I don't know if I could do that. That'd require a lot of fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Peanut butter and banana.
You know where to find them.
Well, thanks guys so much. And don't
Thank
forget,
you,
you
Joe
haven't said that. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and comment.
Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, berate, hate, love us in the comments below.
Yes.
See you later, bitches.